different is it this year playing? Does it feel different?
It wouldn't feel different too much compared to last season, but I think this season we came more together as a squad. The bond we have within the group is very positive, and it's been positive since even coming in from last year. I think what we've done is we've built on that, so we've took a step forward. We've took it in different levels: professionalism, standards within our group, and then just the overall togetherness is just main differences.
Just to add on to that, I think a bit of more belief. I think winning a bit of silverware last year just gave the girls a bit of confidence to be like, you know what, we can actually compete. And as Jenna said, we just carried on from last season and started strong with this season.
I mean, apart probably from Shelburne, who'll be the top team, you played most of the teams. I think I assume you're very comfortable in your own skins playing all these teams, and don't feel, based on what you said, Lynsey, confident. You don't feel inferior in any shape or fashion having these teams now. Well,
yeah. Look, we've never felt inferior to any team. Even from starting last year, like Wexford, when we played them in the first game of the season, they were title favourites because who they signed when we started this journey, and we lost out very late in that game. You know, I do think there are, like, the league in itself has become closer, and probably we've started really well, which has meant Shelburne have had to come out of the blocks quickly, Athlone have come out of the blocks quickly, and other teams have kind of got to get themselves right. You know, in terms of, you saw with Peamount, they weren't playing to their standard, and then all of a sudden they get a result against us, and then they start playing a bit. You know, I think it's definitely, we don't fear anybody, and we were just speaking about the All Ireland Cup draw as well. We won't fear anybody in that, because as far as we're concerned, we're the holders, so come and get it. It's been really straight about it. Yes, you might have an off day, but we've been really consistent from the start, so, you know, please God, we can keep doing that. And, you know, I think we've seen some of the opposition, obviously in the northern opposition we faced as well this year. I think that's probably stood us in good stead in terms of, we know to an extent that we can play teams outside, and we can, within a week's notice, you know, prepare, analyse, get everything sorted and perform against something you wouldn't normally perform. Whereas, you know, the ladies have played when there's been a 3-round league, and I think that became quite stale very quickly. So I think the really good thing, I suppose, is now the narrative is changing, and that teams are now not really wanting to play us because they know what we can do. And even last Saturday, you saw, like, we gave loads of people opportunities which they deserved, heavily rotated squad. Loads of people put their hands up and played really well. But, you know, Athlone, to their credit, are the FAI Cup champions, and they wouldn't have rotated as heavily as us, and we were still able to come out with a decent performance. And that's, I think, where now we have to change that narrative and say, okay, come and play us and come and get us, you know. So
you see yourself having obviously a bit more strength and depth than obviously.
Yeah, maybe not so much, like, you know, I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone that was in last year, like, but I think maybe what we tried to implement last year is coming more into fruition. That's both on the pitch and off the pitch, and I feel the ladies now are taking a bit more control because they know exactly what's expected. Whereas at the start of last season, it was kind of a case of, you know, whilst I knew the league, I'd never been in that position as a manager, and also, you know, a lot of the ladies, we'd never worked together. Whilst we'd been in a previous entity together, we'd never really worked together. So I think they now understand what's exactly our vision is, and they're the ones that are continuing to develop it, you know.
How important are the metrics then? I mean, the numbers are very impressive. The mileage that every player is putting in is very high standard. It's a hard working team, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, Lynsey, do you want to?
Yeah, like as I said to the girls before, I think that needs to be our identity, is how hard working we are, that if we lose the ball, we're going to work our socks off to get it back as quick as possible and then maintain it. But it comes from our sessions. Our sessions are just as hard as a match day, especially on a Tuesday evening. You are pushed to the max, and I think that's what's really benefited this season. Is we seem to be outrunning teams. Our pressing intensity seems to be at the highest, and that's what we want to keep at and keep pushing for the rest of the season.
It's obvious when teams are playing against you that they don't really enjoy it. But you're on the table the whole time. You know,
Yeah, and like I said, that even the good players, if they're getting pressed, they're not going to like that at all. And we need to maintain that and keep building on that, because there's a long way to go. And I think we can keep pushing our standards, and they'll come back into a training. We need to push ourselves in training, and then hopefully take it into match day.
The goals still, obviously in previous years, would have been a little bit of an issue, as we know. And I know Julianne has been added up top to help in that regard. But has there been a change of emphasis or focus in any particular way that you've gone on from, I'm not saying poor scorers, but of lesser, but to set the standards that you're setting this year?
Yeah, there has been a massive change, really, to be honest. We were 29, we're 26 now in 9 games. Whereas last year we played 34 and scored 29. Or sorry, played 26 and scored 34. So like we're already quite there, and if we were to continue on the same trend, we'd scored 78 goals this year. Might not happen, but there's no reason why it shouldn't happen, because we're creating the chances. But that was a real plan, really, in terms of last year was about being difficult to beat and not being a pushover in terms of our defensive shape, and it's well regarded, the shape we play, and we don't change for anybody, and we believe in it, and it served us well in terms of clean sheets. It served us well in terms of keeping goals out. But yes, last year was probably just, we weren't at the level yet of intensity where we wanted to get to in terms of off the ball running and forward progressive passes, because we were really focused on getting the ball, keeping the ball. And now we're the highest percentage team in the league, but also we're creating the most chances because we want to play forward. We want to play forward more often, and it's a credit to the players and the staff, and like they're enjoying the hard work. But again, it would have probably been a step too soon if we started doing that last year, because we didn't have the system down yet in the shape. So that's kind of been the story of where we are. I think we're just shy of 3 goals a game, which is a good start. And again, like last Saturday, we had our 13th different goal scorer, so to score 26, and Jenna's obviously top goal scorer in the league from midfield. It's a really hard working team, but they can come from anywhere. And that's I suppose the secret thus far. Again, it still is very early days. So
we complement the attack, of course. Attack is developed from midfield in the same way as a good defensive structure is structured also in midfield. So we better obviously complement the defence, because obviously the amount of clean sheets. I know you let 2 in last week and 2 against Sligo, but the amount of clean sheets was in 7 and 8 games previous to that. So obviously that sort of takes a bit of work, and the continuation from last season.
Definitely, yeah. It's since you go back to this time last year, I think we've conceded 3 goals in the league or something, a mad stat, So like that's work, but that's an awful lot of work, and it's the early of the defence starts up front, and the ladies press really well, they work really aggressively, and then in terms of build up, like we stay on the ball, and Jenna is kind of pivotal in that in terms of moving it from back to front, but also the other way around as well. And I think we've kind of changed the roles traditionally in terms of a 10 will be that creative player. Lynsey's very creative and hitting really good form this season, but also her numbers in terms of pressing and work rate in that position, which might have been maybe the Bergkamp role for you, Declan, or the Ozil role.
Modest comparison.
Yeah. She's doing both this year, and there's other players that are doing it as well. But I think that's it's testament to the ladies, and it's testament to the coaching staff that we have, and in that we've really developed, and our system is quite difficult to play against, but also for teams it's you can just see a bit more now belief in ourselves, as Lynsey said, and that we know we can score, and we can score from anywhere.
How does it feel to have the higher profile now? You had the big crowd there for the previous game. It must be encouraging to see support there is there for the team.
Yeah, 100%. Like you love the support that's behind you. It does keep you going, and to get that number against DLR was absolutely amazing as a player. And then seeing all the little kids just coming up to you after the game and spending time with them, I think that's what really goes a long way. And I've said it before, as I think Galway is one big community, and I think that's what helps us in the back end to keep going, because there's kids always at our games. You'd always hear of people in Galway supporting you no matter what. So I think that's what's really positive.
Were you conscious that day, in particular against DLR, of the crowd that was there?
No, I don't think so. Like, I think we took it as a positive rather than kind of letting it get to us. I think once we stepped on the pitch, we knew what job we had to play. It didn't change from any other game we had previously or any game that we will have. Once we step onto the pitch, we still are focused. We have to do our job, and we do that job, and then we go over to the supporters after and we hear them, and we support them as well as much as they support us.
It's some years for club overall, isn't it? I mean, the main one of the things, could we have the problem next year? They could have Champions League games for the same night. Nice problem to have.
No pressure.
Yeah, look, it's great. And I've been really clear on this. I think it's a really good time to be in Galway United. Obviously the work the men are doing is incredible. You know, a lot of people would have said like, oh, they're going to struggle, like, but by God, they put in the groundwork as well last year for what they're doing this year. They've really developed in terms of their style of play. They're getting those goals they probably weren't getting at the start of the season now as well. And I think it's probably one thing that we have in common is that we're very difficult to play against, you know, and that's our identity as a club, and that's probably something we should be proud of, because, you know, it should be a difficult place to come. It should be difficult when more than Connacht had a good spell when it was raining and no one wanted to come to the showgrounds. Yeah. That should be where we are, and it's really positive. Everything is, even this is so professional, you know, everything is kind of taking that step forward, and it's really nice to be part of.
Do you find that as well, just the change from, obviously Galway WFC was an entity in its own right, where a small group of people worked extremely hard to progress it and keep it going. Do you see a change now, obviously from that time to the current?
Oh yeah, and that's no disrespect, as you said, to Galway Women's FC. Like, they did a lot of hard work behind the scenes, but oh yeah, coming together with Galway United and the men set up between the crowds for the DLR game. My first press conference, I was coming up to Jenna, I was like, what do you even do in a press conference? I'm like, you only see that in the telly in the Premier League. Just the support overall, the standards alone is just the difference. And look, hopefully we can keep pushing that standard every year, both on and off the pitch.
We might jump to online. I know we have Aaron Clark online. Aaron, if you want to come in for a question or two.
Yeah, sure. Jen, I guess Phil mentioned you being top scorer this season. What's changed for you? Because your performances this year seem to have taken probably 2 or 3 steps from last year.
I probably would go down to the backing of everyone in Galway United, to be honest with you. I think seeing that the belief that the players have in each other and that the coaching staff have, and as well as the backroom staff, kind of showed that as a team we can believe a lot more, and we can be that team that are hard to play against and be that team to keep progressing. So yeah, I was kind of believing a bit more and taking on responsibility on myself, as well as pushing the team.
In terms of the team performances, like, albeit you've got 6 goals, you've scored 18 goals as a team. Like, the goals seem to be coming from different people, and when you sort of hit that stride, you have shown a tendency that you can score quick goals, and against the big teams as well. Yeah,
100%, and I think that's what's really positive with us. I think all the players know each other a lot more. Like, we took kind of, if we're looking back at last year, we've improved a lot, and it would kind of be a learning curve to understand players and what way they play and how they like it. And I think one thing is, in a way, we're not selfish with each other. Like, we move the ball very well, and we understand each other. So I think that's why we're getting so much goals. It's the togetherness then within the team, that everyone backs each other and there's no pressure on you. You go and play as you can and as a team.
Was goals something you challenged yourself for this year? Because performances are probably, in 3 points in games is probably what you want, but was more goals something you challenged yourself to get this year?
Like, I always want to contribute to the team, whether that's goals or assists, but for me, I think is more getting assists on my game. I can kind of get the goals, but maybe a factor of my game was to kind of create a lot more, and that's kind of shown. I've got 4 or 5 assists now this season, whereas the last couple of seasons I haven't got any. So I think it was kind of improving my own game in a progressive way, pushing up the field, laying off the ball, progressive passes, as well as then as contributing by scoring goals as well.
Lindsay, in terms of yourself, for many years you were one of the main focals of Galway WSC and all things Galway. What's it like now where maybe the pressure isn't necessarily on you to deliver all the big performances? You've got these players around you now who are helping you, and we've seen with the success of last year.
Oh, it's a dream to play with this team. They're such a young, fearless team. And you know what, as you said, I've been around a long time, but they've given me a new energy. And they've made me enjoy my football even more than I thought I could ever enjoy it. Just their positivity, just how they just love playing football. They don't care who they're playing or what's happening. They just want to go out and play. And being honest, I'm enjoying every minute of it.
What's it like though, from when you look back at, when your earlier days in the league, where the league was predominantly dominated by a lot of Dublin teams till Wexford started winning competitions, and now people are talking about Galway because of what Galway are doing and what yous are doing in Galway, and having won the All-Ireland Cup last year.
Yeah, it's great, and being honest, it's about time. We were always a team that could put in a performance, but getting this consistency, it's great. And being honest, I hope we just need to maintain it and focus on one game at a time. And even just as you said, like with Athlone, like it just shows between ourselves and Athlone, I think any Dublin team hates to come play us now, and look, hopefully that continues.
No disrespect to the game last year, the TV game last year against DLR, where the season was it was just shown games at that stage. But what's it like having such a big game against Shamrock Rovers being televised on television?
I can't wait. I'm not going to lie. Tallaght Stadium, and that we're going in, I'm full of confidence. I just can't wait to play that game on Saturday. I'd say it'll be one of the most enjoyable games this season, and look, hopefully we'll get 3 points.
Phil, you talked a little bit earlier about, playing some of the bigger sides, you're playing the likes of the Athlones and stuff like that. You have a big run of games coming up, but the Shamrock Rovers game, they're going to come in as wounded warriors because they haven't necessarily hit the ground running and hit what they would expect this season. What are you expecting out of Shamrock Rovers this weekend?
Yeah, I'm expecting them to be, same as usual, Collie, like they'll be really well coached, they'll try things. They played with a back three last weekend. Piedmont did that the week before. They played us as well, and like that's great credit to our ladies. And that you're talking about big teams. Well, Jesus, we're a big team. If teams are changing how to play us, if they're adapting to play against us, I'd expect them like they're the usual. Like they create a lot of chances. This year they've given up quite too many that they would expect. So I think. The key is going to be the midfield battle as always, And
what's it like going into these sort of big games now? Because there's a lot of exposure on the game. There's a lot of hype around the game. You're not going in as underdogs anymore. Everybody's going to be saying Galway United are favourites in these sort of games.
Yeah, that's something we've had to develop and learn with a bit. Even in the game against Piedmont, we probably would have been favourites to a lot of people, and and even games we've played this year, because we started so well, that narrative changes. But, you need to just go with it and go with playing. Like, you can provide any narrative you want, but we're just focused on ourselves. We're focused on being better consistently. And the stats don't lie in terms of where we are. And it's a great thing that other teams are focusing more on Galway now, because that's always been, as Lindsay said, it's been a sleeping giant, and there's been serious talent coming out of here for many years. And to have other teams now focusing on us, let's keep that rolling. Let's keep it going for as long as we can, because it's that consistency that we're looking to achieve all over again.
Just for the two girls, Jenna and Lindsay, on that game in particular, midfield has been something that teams have been able to sort of get a bit of momentum against Shamrock Rovers this season. How important do you think it is that you sort of get in and stamp that authority early on the game to put the way Galway have been playing?
Yeah, look, we always want to play with our front foot going forward. Like as a midfield, we're just going to go in and play our usual game and set that front foot forward. And I think from then there we'll do our own job. But yeah, it's just focusing on ourselves as a team and getting that kind of flow in the team and just keep driving forward.
Yeah, just to touch on what Jenna said, like I do think in these bigger games, the midfield is really important and your individual battles. So look, from the minute one, we'll go in with intent to try and get our game, just winning the ball back as quick as possible, winning your second balls, and then, as Jenna said, progressive pass and just doing what we can to get into that flow.
Just one final one from me. Jenna, I'll come to you. The Peamount game, that was the first time we'd seen Galway drop points this season. The response off the back of it, how important do you think that game was, even though you didn't get the result in the game, that you come back, put a good performance in the week after, and showed that it was just a blip?
Yeah, I think it was very important. I think that what shows what Galway United are really about this season, to go in, as Phil was saying, like we were at this stage last year and we had a bad couple of run of games and we kind of dropped the heads, but I think when we lost out in them points, it kind of showed together as a team that we knew we could have been that little bit braver, that bit more belief in the team, and to go on then and push again that game after, it was unbelievable, to be honest. It was good for a team, for us ourselves, to kind of get that good performance off the back of losing points. So yeah, I think it just shows that the team we are, we're resilient, we'll keep going no matter what, and just the overall determination in the team, it's there.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Anything from the room, or do you want to wrap up? Perfect. Thanks very much for everyone for joining online, and thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.